A very interesting thing to note is that in this millennium, from 2000 up until now, the only NHL quality goaltender that the Vancouver Canucks have drafted was Cory Schneider back in 2004. If we go through this millennium, we can see many goaltenders taken. In 2002, we took Lucas Mensator, Rob McVicker, and Matt Violin. In 2004, we took ourselves Cory Schneider and Julian Ellis. In 2005, we got Alexander Vincent. 2008 saw us taking Morgan Clark. 2009, Joe Canada. 2010, Jonathan Ilati. Then in 2011, David Honzik. And now we're moving forward into the two most recent goaltenders that the Vancouver Canucks have drafted. In 2014, Thatcher Demko, 36th overall in the second round, the second goaltender taken in this draft after Mason McDonald. Then going over to 2017, Michael DiPietro, 64th overall, third round pick, was just signed today. I called it. I totally called it. In the most recent video I made talking about 2016 versus 2017 in the draft classes, I basically called it. I said that Michael DiPietro was going to be signed by the end of 2 months down the line, but it's incredible because a day after I made that video, he signed. And now he's on the Vancouver Canucks, he's in the system, he is the 5th of 8 2017 Canucks class players to grab themselves a contract. And that is so amazing. It's not even a year removed from the 2017 draft, and already 5 of the 8 guys are under contract. This is incredible, and I'm so happy to see just the growth of our systems within our drafting. I already talked about this in the video yesterday, but yeah. The only ones remaining, Jack Rathbone, he's going off to college, so we can't really sign him just yet. Christopher Gunnarsson, he's a come-see, come-saw maybe, and Matt Brassard has an injury problem. So that's why these other 3 guys haven't really been signed yet, but for the 5 that we have signed, my goodness, they were signed for a reason, and Michael DiPietro is the 5th in this train of players. So now, what we have for our goaltending situation is a really good one in my opinion. Not Markstrom and Nielsen, I'm not talking about that. I mean, sure, Anders Nielsen did have just an incredible World Championship tournament, and he was so good, what the heck, we didn't see that in the blue and green basically at all this season. I mean, there were some moments where he was pretty good, but for the most part, the Markstrom-Nielsen tandem wasn't really that good. So now, we take a look into the pipeline, and we take a look at what we have, who's coming up, and the tandem of the future for Vancouver Canucks goaltending looks to be something like Thatcher Demko and Michael DiPietro. First off, I like these guys' names. They both end in O's. My name is Gio, so, you know, I like that very much. But, interestingly enough, these are both guys who we don't know the gauge on their potentials. Let's be honest here. They could both easily become fantastic #1 elite starters, or they could just both become AHL tweeners, but for the most part, Thatcher Demko is looking like he's not going to be that guy. He already got a step in the NHL already, he's a really good goaltender in the AHL, and his opportunity is soon. It's very, very soon. Michael DiPietro, on the other hand, he's still going to play with the Winter Spitfires, yes, but he's had every good thing happen to him this year, and the only reason why DiPietro didn't have an even better, more critically acclaimed season this year is because of a guy named Carter Hart playing over there in the western side of Canada, because if Carter Hart wasn't a thing, DiPietro probably would have gotten a few more awards. Let's be real here. But for the most part, DiPietro still has had such a good run with the Windsor Spitfires, arguably the best goaltender in the OHL. I was going to say the CHL, but I was like, no, Carter Hart's really freaking good. But, yeah, it's a very interesting situation to look at, especially now that we have Demko and DiPietro. And both of these guys are both guys who could definitely work themselves up into an NHL role if the development goes correctly. So, that begs the question, is this something we really want? Do we really want a Demko DiPietro tandem? Sure, if they both hit their primes, yes, it will be a good tandem, but, man, if there was anything that Luongo and Schneider taught me, it was that you don't really want to have two really good goaltenders on the team at the same time. Right? Is it fair to say that? Oh boy. I don't want to be that guy who sits here and says, I hope that Michael DiPietro has backup potential, because if he's a backup, he doesn't become good enough to be a starter, he can just stay as a backup. Because I want him to succeed, man. He's got so much good things going for him. Of course, the path of goalies, it's really unpredictable. We don't know how good any of these guys are going to be. It's just that Demko, with his few years of professional experience, encapsulated with his college years, he's looking to be a guy who will play in the NHL eventually, and for sure. Michael DiPietro, of course, OHL goalie, things are different over there. Might not happen, it might still happen, but we don't know. So, all we can do is just take a look at this, and look at it at face value. What do we have right now? We have a really good goaltender, the best goaltender in the OHL, Michael DiPietro, drafted by us, and the second most previous goaltender that we have. He spent a few years with the Comets, played a game with the Canucks, looked good in that game, and now he might be stepping into the lineup as early as next year. Who really knows? Anders Nielsen, Jacob Markstrom, they hold the cards here, and whatever happens to them, it will dictate the future of Demko, at least going into next season. I've also heard a lot of talks about trading DiPietro or Demko, and I think a lot of this speculation, recently at least, has come from the big wave of Hanifin talks, and everybody's talking about, yeah, well, the Carolina Hurricanes, they don't really have a goalie, right? They have Nedeljkovic, that's it, right? We could give them Demko or DiPietro. How does DiPietro, Berchi, Lind, 7th, and 37th sound to grab ourselves Noah Hanifin and, like, Victor Rask? Please. Let's just hold off on the speculating a little bit. I know Friedman did say that the 7th overall pick was most likely in play, but it doesn't mean that we're going to be getting rid of DiPietro or Demko anytime soon, especially in the fact that we just signed them. So, yeah, that's kind of just another hit in the face to that issue right here, but for the most part, things are looking really good. DiPietro, 5th out of 8 players from last year's draft, definitely one of the better drafts the Canucks have ever had, just looking at it from a perspective of 1 year later. Sure, maybe 5 years down the line I could be saying, yeah, the 2017 draft sucked, Pettersson was a bust, and the 2016 draft, oh my goodness, this was amazing. Yo, Levy, he's a Norris winner, 3-time Norris winner, and Lockwood is a 5-time Selke winner. I could be saying that. But, for now, for today, just for 1 year down the line, the 2017 draft looks like it is the best draft the Canucks have had in a very long time. And that's just from the perspective of 1 year later. So, DiPietro is totally a guy who's rounding out those expectations for me. It's awesome. I just made the video yesterday. Yo, man, I think DiPietro's gonna get signed. And he gets signed the next day. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Even the other goaltenders we got, absolutely beautiful. Thatcher Demko looks like he's going to be a pivotal player, at least within 2 years. So that could be as early as September, or it could be as late as ending off the season next year. But I think that just Markstrom and Nielsen, they really hold the cards here. Whatever happens to them is going to dictate the rest of this goaltending pipeline here. And I just really hope that we make the right decisions and we don't rush any of these guys in, because honestly, I thought Demko looked pretty good in that game against Columbus, and all we can do is just hope for the best, because he is still really good. Playing over in the AHL for the Comets, he's definitely just a total all-star player. He was named to the All-Star game, definitely one of the best players in the playoff run, not even the playoff run, just the first round against the Toronto Marlies, and a lot of Marlies fans did get kind of shook at how Demko was playing, so yeah, it's really good for him. DiPietro, on the other hand, stealing the show in the CHL, playing in that Windsor Spitfires organization. So overall, that's the 1-2 punch, at least in the foreseeable future. That's the 1-2 punch. Demko, DiPietro. If one of these guys outplays the other, okay, cool. I just really don't want to have another goaltender controversy, but for the meantime, things are looking really, really good for the most recent 2 Canucks goaltenders. And going back even further, they're the only 2 goaltenders that we basically have drafted that turned out to be good. You could say David Honzik, but let's be real here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plus, like that, saying gaming, and bye.